Welcome to the Mind Your Business podcast, episode number 12. Today, we're talking all about how to get motivated. Stay tuned. Hi, I'm James Wedmore, and I've built a 7-figure internet business that offers the financial freedom to do what I want, when I want. And I'm the first to say that hard work and hustle are not essential ingredients for your success. So, how do you build a thriving business from the inside out? This is the Mind Your Business podcast, featuring myself and co-host Phoebe Mroczek. Okay, how do you get motivated? That's a very common question. It's asked all the time. There's like motivational videos on YouTube with like 10 gajillion views. People ask me, James, how do you stay motivated? And that's what we're going to talk about today. And the first thing we're going to say is really challenge you that maybe it's not the right question to be asking. There is a difference between motivation and inspiration, or being motivated versus being inspired. And motivation is extrinsic or external, which means some external variable or factor is the thing that is pushing you to do the action that you've told yourself that you need to be doing. And chances are, even if you're doing it because you're motivated, you're still not liking it. You're still not enjoying it. So this is a real issue, like where willpower comes in, and we like willpower fatigue. Like there's only so much willpower you have in a day. So there's only so many things you can actually do that you don't want to be doing in a day anyways before you run out of any willpower or motivation whatsoever. So, like the classic example here is your desire to get in shape, right? Phoebe?
That would definitely have to be the one thing that I'm dying to do, but am I really?
Right. Yeah,
I'm struggling with the motivation.
Exactly. So this is a perfect example. And yeah, we can get a trainer to yell at you. We can call in Jillian Michaels here to just like yell at you and call you names and put you on TV, and you're going to be pretty motivated.
Definitely.
But what happens when Jillian goes away? What happens when the cameras go away? Like
Netflix and ice cream.
I love it. House of Cards and cookie dough. That's amazing. So like, notice how fast, like the motivation is
short-lived.
It's short-lived. And then you're looking again for it. It's external. So I always love this concept of inspiration. So whenever my students or coaching clients come to me, I'm always helping them with not how to get and stay motivated, but rather how to get inspired. So if you're feeling like you're stuck, you're in a rut, like you don't want to do the things that you know you need to be doing, first of all, we'll get into inspiration and like what it is, but let's do this. Why are you asking the question, how to get motivated? Chances are it's because you believe there is something, you believe that you need to be doing something. There's something that you need to be doing, like getting in shape. Okay. Or let's even get more specific, because I don't think Phoebe would say that she's motivated or not motivated or not even inspired to get in better shape. But there's some specific action item that maybe, perhaps, is like something you're like totally dreading. So is there?
Yes.
Okay, go. What is it?
Running outside.
Running. Yeah.
Anywhere really.
Okay, so watch this. So Phoebe starts with an intention, which is, I want to get in shape. Okay, and this is everybody, so I'm just using Phoebe as an example here. And then she goes, okay, so I need to start running. And that's where she checks in and says, but I don't
not
want
happening.
to. So I got to find the motivation. I got to put all my favorite Katy Perry songs on my iPod. And
Hanson.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. I can't. Yeah.
Too easy.
Awful. And then like maybe drink a bunch of coffee beforehand, and like, okay, now it's the morning of, and like, oh, I gotta, check my email first, right? All these things. And you're looking for that motivation. But at the end of the day, she doesn't want to go running. So the thing is that there is that desire of not wanting to do it, not feeling like it, not being up to it, whatever. And so like, I want to actually flip it and say, what if you just didn't go running?
Right.
Like, what if you actually trusted your feelings, because there's something inside of you saying like, I don't want to, and like just totally didn't go running. Now, hear me out, because like, obviously just being like, I want to go running, and then like, but I don't feel like it, so I'm not going to, isn't going to get to your goals. Okay. But it does allow for an opportunity to open the space for inspiration. And that's what we want to challenge with people. So a lot of what I'm saying is going to sound so backwards, so like not what we're conditioned to do. But what if through a discovery process, Phoebe then discovers or finds out that she like wants to start surfing and starts doing that every day, and there isn't any need for motivation? Because I surf, and I've discovered surfing being such an incredible workout because you're in the water, so you're constantly moving, you're swimming, you're paddling, you're standing up, and I mean there's balance, there's all these things that contribute to make it like such an incredible workout. And so one of the reasons I tell people why I surf just about every single day is because it is a workout, and it's gotten me in better shape, it's got me stronger, leaner, more flexible, better balanced. So do I need motivation to go surfing?
You definitely don't. I know that. I think everybody knows that.
And so like, isn't that fascinating? So what it really is like just trying this on for people, because I know some people are sitting here saying like, I'm here to get motivated. Give me some really cool quote about how just like pain is weakness leaving the body. I'm like, give me a freaking break. Okay. Like, listen, if you're training to become an NFL athlete, that's freaking awesome. Okay. But I'm training to be just someone who loves and enjoys life. And I don't want to put myself through pain all day and then justify that I'm doing that because it's weakness leaving the body. I just want to enjoy life and experience life. And so that's where this conversation of looking for inspiration comes in. Now, inspiration, I-N, is, the first indicator into the power of this because it's intrinsic or internal. And the definition of inspiration is the process of being mentally stimulated to do or feel something, especially to do something creative. Okay. So, but it doesn't have to be like I'm inspired in my business every single day. And that's really where I'm at today, is that I look for ways to be inspired in my business. And my big thing is I have a quote that says, massive action is a ginormous distraction, because there are a lot of people who say, yes, take action and hustle. And it's like, great. You're just keeping yourself busy and you're probably in denial.
Right.
I know that's going to rub some people the wrong way. Like, wait, what did you call me? But instead of taking massive action, take inspired action. And inspired action is like the action comes forth from you, like it's your natural tendency. It flows through you and you create from the inside out. And the thing is like you just look back to a time that you got motivated to do something. You didn't want to do it before you got motivated, and you probably didn't want to do it even while you were motivated. And you just grit your teeth and just bear it, the whole process. And inspired is like this, when it happens, because it's this natural tendency that just feels effortless. It just feels fun, light, and easy. And people who are listening to this, who are having a hard time hearing this, probably have a belief that everything worth coming to you has to come through hard work, and nothing worthy of accomplishment comes through ease. And like, no, I'm not worthy unless I work hard. And, I just remember like I've shared things on Facebook where I'll be like, taking 8 days off to go to Maui with my fiance and closing the laptop and whatever. And people will say like, you deserve it. Like, so like if I didn't work hard, like I wouldn't. Like you should write like, you're not worthy of this. You don't deserve that. It's like, what if you're always worthy and deserving? And
right. And what if your life looks like you don't need a vacation? What if that is just the way that you are? You just are always on vacation.
Well, that's how I already felt. That's why it was kind of funny too. It was like, well, we're already living in Laguna Beach and going to the beach every day. Like Maui was just another beach. That's what we're doing. In a moment, we want to give you 6 ways in which you can start to discover inspiration for yourself. And again, the indicator that it's not motivated action of go, pushing, jamming the square peg into the round hole, but rather inspired action or inspired idea or just living a life that's inspired, is that it springs forth from within. It flows. It's easier. It's that moment in the shower when the idea hits you like a lightning bulb, or while you're driving the car and the idea pops in there. And you just have to call somebody and be like, oh my gosh, you're not going to believe this. And you're excited, you're talking louder, you're freaking out. It's awesome. And some people are like, man, I haven't been like that since a little kid, or I've never been like that. And hopefully some of the action items we can give you can get you there. But I'll just tell you, without trying to be braggadocious, my life is like the opposite of that right now, where I'm like, how do I stop it? Because I stopped going to events this year because I was like, if I see another speaker speak or talk about a new idea, like I'm going to have 100 more ideas and new information. I stopped reading for a while because every time I picked up a book, I had some, a blog post, a video, more content, an email. Oh my gosh. And like, that's kind of where we want to get you, is that like the ideas, the creativity, the action items are flowing. And I know there's people here that are like, yeah, but James, there's stuff I have to do. There's stuff I have to do. And first is we want to challenge that.
Because what do you actually have to do? You know, there's certain things that you...
Sue, who said you have to do it?
Right, exactly. You get to choose. That's the best part. You get to choose what's important, what your priorities are.
No, but I have to do it. And yes, there might be a few things, like maybe you have some like court-ordered mandate of, you know, community service. Yeah, you have to do that. And maybe you should get motivated to do that if you're not. But we really, really want to challenge you to look at the things that you do say, I have to do, and say, do you? And why? And because, you know, a lot of times there are things that did light me up at one time in business and then like don't anymore. I look for ways to systematize it, automate it, delegate it, or outsource it, or not do it anymore.
And that's okay.
And be okay with that.
Exactly.
Yeah,
I
totally.
think that's the most important part, is that you go through phases where things that once inspired you don't anymore. And I think people hang on to that so tightly that they think in their heads, oh my gosh, you know, this used to inspire me, so it should still inspire me. But if it doesn't anymore, you can just let it go. And that's the beauty of all of this, is that you can. So
if you're listening to this, I'm going to just make the bold assumption that you are an entrepreneur. Like that's the big guess I'm making here, because that's who we are. And as an entrepreneur, like that's what we do, is we create. We are paving a path that has not been formed yet. And so a lot of it has to be about the inspiration, the creativity, the creating something from nothing. And if you don't have access to that, if you haven't found access to that, or if you've cut off access to it, now is the time to get it back. So I want to go ahead and give an example of what inspired action or being inspired looks like in my life. These are just a couple like really fun examples. The first one is about a year ago. It was actually September of 2014. I was visiting my good friends Kate and Mike Northrup in Maine, Portland, Maine. And I was speaking at one of their events that they were putting on. And before we went to the event, Mike said, hey, hold on, I got to go get something from my office. And we drove down the street. We parked the car, we walk up to this old brick building in Portland, Maine, and takes me inside his office. And the first thing I said was like, oh, this is awesome. I just like said, I was like, I want an office. It was like, I had never heard myself say I want an office. Like it wasn't on some vision board somewhere. Like I was just like, oh, I want this. And like, he inspired me. Like he didn't motivate me. He wasn't sitting there saying like, dude, if you want to be more successful, you need an office. That's the difference between motivation and inspiration. He just took me to his office. I saw it. I got inspired. And I was like, I want an office. I don't remember exactly when it was. I think maybe we were on the drive there or the drive back to the event, or I was on the plane or something. But I just Googled Laguna Beach office space. And the first result that I saw, I really liked. And I spent an entire week looking for other office spaces after I got home. And I still went back to that first one. And I said, okay, this feels good. This feels right. Let's do this. Literally a week later, I was in the place that we're actually in right now recording this episode. We've actually rented 2 office spaces. So it's my office. My team comes in here on a daily basis. We have a film studio next door. And it has been such an unbelievable, amazing experience. There is not a negative thing about this entire place, about any of it. The price is amazing. The space is like expansive. It's creative. It's got an ocean view. My favorite sushi restaurant of my entire life since I was a little kid is 4 steps away from us. Like everything about it is absolutely unbelievable. And it came from this idea that just popped in my head like, oh, that's what I want. And from that feeling of a desire of something that got me excited, I was just compelled to take the action steps. Like you couldn't have held me back. It became my natural tendency. My next natural steps were just to get the office.
Right. And a year prior, you were probably not like, oh, I'm really inspired to have an office. And all of a sudden, it just kind of sprung to your mind. And then all of a sudden, it was just so easy. And I think that's the best part about this whole thing is when you're in inspired action, everything just falls into place and it's so easy.
Everything was so easy. She gave me a discount on it. I got to move in like immediately. She gave me a discount on the rent and it was so easy. So anyways, there's my example of inspired action.
So I have another example. I lived in Beijing, China for 3 years. And as I was working in this very uninspiring job, I started noticing my friends just talking about that they were all single. And I just all of a sudden in the shower, driving the car, whatever, actually it was like a little scooter. And on the scooter, I just thought I should have singles events. I love events. I love bringing people together. And all of a sudden it happened probably over the course of about 4 days where I started talking to everyone that I was talking to knew somebody who was either a restaurant owner, a bar owner, could provide space for me. And it just happened so quickly and it grew to holding wine tasting, singles events, pub crawls. And as I said, it was so easy, but not only that, it ultimately ended up replacing my full-time income. And I didn't even do it for the money. And that's the best part is that I couldn't care less if I made any money. The first couple were all for charity and just because I absolutely love doing it. So that is another example of when it just came so easily.
And I know you all have times as well. That's an opportunity too, is to look at what was a time recently, long ago, or anywhere in between where you felt inspired and followed through on that. And it wasn't an effort to do so. It was like, this is fun. This is incredible. I love it. This is amazing. And that's what we're looking to do. I want to challenge you to create more of that in your life and to lead from that, to look for inspiration, not motivation, to give up on this efforting of always trying to get motivated because listen, it's kind of like a drug. Like something's going to motivate you and then it's not going to motivate you as much the next time. And it's going to have a little bit less and less effect. And then you're going to have to try something else stronger, maybe, and that just sounds like a vicious cycle. And you want to check in. Why am I really not motivated to do this? Maybe you're not supposed to do it. Maybe you're not meant to do it. Maybe it's time for something new or different. And this is why people, there's always these stories of people getting burnt out at work and then, getting fired was the best thing that ever happened to them because they went and started their own business. Like that's what we're talking about. I mean, I'm not saying go quit today, guys, but those are extreme examples. So what we want to do is we want to share with you 6 ways that you can invite more inspiration and more importantly, more inspired action into your lives. And it really starts, it is again, counterintuitive because it's less of the efforting. And a lot of people say the best way to get motivated is just start moving. And this is actually like quite the opposite of that because this is not pushing, this is receiving. This is very much the like feminine energy versus the masculine. And this is what I needed. This is really what I needed in my world. So number 1 is to set intentions and ask the right questions. And so what I do when I'm working with coaching students is the first thing I do is like when they're stuck with something, they're stuck making a decision about what to do or, maybe they're not motivated. I always say, well, always ask the question, what do you want? What do you want? And get really clear on that. And then that really becomes your intention. What do you want? And for anybody who says, I don't know, it's total BS. The trick is just blur it, pull it away and say, what's the essence? You might not know like exactly specifically how you want it to show up, but you know how you want to feel. You kind of know a little bit about it. And if you blur it, just blur the image a bit and say, what do I want? What's the essence of that? You're on the right track. So if you want inspiration to come into your life, you want to get as clear as you can on what it is that you want, what it is that you're up to, how you want to feel, what you want your life to look like, and then ask the right questions. So one of my inspired moments came up when we were in the middle of planning the launch. And I don't remember what the question was, but it was something like, I want a new, different way that we can promote this offer. And I kind of just created that as a question, like, what's a new, different way we can promote this offer? And like 2 hours later, I got a phone call from a friend, a fellow marketer in the industry. And this person just happened to tell me a story of like what they were doing that had worked. And we got off the phone and I like go and I eat lunch it just popped into my head like, holy cow, like they just gave me the answer to that question. Like,
that was easy.
That was easy. I'm just going to go do that. That was amazing. You know, and I was like very clear on like what the question is. So like asking the right questions. Tony Robbins says the quality of your life is determined by the quality of questions you ask. So number one, if you want to invite more inspiration into your life, it's set the intention for what it is that you want and ask really good questions. Like, what are effective ways that I can lose weight and get in shape? What is a way that I can get in the best shape of my life and have fun doing it? What is the best advice? What is the best direction? What is the best thing that I can do that is in my highest interest and good that can get me in better shape? And
not only that, but I think something that inspires me about your story that you just shared is that you were willing to kind of look for the answers, you know, that and receive the answer when it came to you. A lot of people would be like, oh, okay.
Nah, that's coincidence.
Exactly.
No, and that's fine. Like, call coincidence, but like, it was
be
great.
Open to that.
You know, I still ran with it and it worked, by the way. It worked extremely well. So
awesome. So number 2 is to create space to do things that have zero resistance. So things that you really enjoy. And I know that just working with you, James, we've talked a lot about playing and how, you know, that's a really important thing, but just to do things that you enjoy doing and start with little things. You know, it doesn't have to be this big thing and asking all these questions and doing all these things that inspire you, because that puts so much pressure. If you're like, go do something that inspires you. Mm-hmm. Well, I don't know, you know, but if you start with something really small, you know, what do you love to do?
Yeah. And I think the key is it's something that has no resistance. So like, you know, we were looking at videos and stuff that talked about motivation, how to get motivated. And people would just share these like gut wrenching comments of like, I need help. Like, I just have zero motivation. I have no desire to do anything. And like, I just don't buy that. I just know there is something that they wouldn't mind doing. Like, go for a walk. There's no resistance in that. Or, you know, call up an old friend. Or, you know, go see a movie or go to a museum or do something that stimulates you, that you have a desire to do. Now, it is easy to be like, go watch TV and stuff like that. But I kind of want to like recommend that there are things that, you know, don't numb your brain and more like stimulate the brain, right? But what are some things? And by the way, guys, I have these in my back pocket. Like, I have a list of things that when I feel burnt out, when I feel plateau, when I don't feel like I'm in my flow state, that I know I have 5 or 6 go-to things that I do whenever I'm not feeling my best. And so I have things. Can you
share those?
Yeah. So like, I have definitely going for a walk is a huge one for me. Meditating, reading a book. I have a couple of friends that I know I can call and just talk to. And like, we're talking about things that have nothing to do with the problem. We're not like, I need your help, man. I'm tired and wah. It's like, what's going on? What have you been up to? Like, we're just talking. Like, it's stuff that you want to do. And then obviously anything in the ocean is massive. Like, even if I just jump in the water, you know, swimming, surfing, paddleboarding, that's all I need. So it's book, meditate, walk, surfing, friends. Like, ba.
Awesome.
And when I don't feel my best, I go, which one am I feeling right now? Go. Okay. So
what a great activity, though, just to have listeners do. That's something I'll definitely do tonight, is just to go home and just really think about what are those things, so you do have them, you know, as you're saying, in your back pocket. And which one do you feel like today?
And we actually pulled one of those out into its own little step here. So number 3 on our 6 ways to invite more inspiration into your life is to meditate. We're going to do a series of episodes on how to meditate and ways to meditate and stuff, because like, I think it's become so popular. Podcasts to talk about morning routines, and like, I'm a part of Jeff Walker's mastermind, and I was at his live event, PLF Live, and like, he's talking about how he does a 21-minute meditation every morning. And I just like, so here's this guy who I've known as this, you know, internet marketing, business metrics, conversion, launch specialist guy. And like, he's like, yeah, I meditate every morning. And I'm like,
for 21 minutes.
I know, it's pretty amazing. It's 21 or 22, something like that. I was probably 21. And then there's Ariana Huffington, who I didn't read her new book yet, Thrive, but I listened to a podcast of her talking in an interview. And like, you know, one reason why we're so excited to come out with this is because I feel like so many successful people are talking about this other side of like, yes, they meditate daily, and it's scientifically proven like what meditation does to the brain, what it does for productivity, what it does for teamwork, happiness, personality, like all that stuff. And it's like, even just I'm not motivated to meditate. Like, meditation doesn't have to be, you know, like light the incense, go in a room and like start doing mantras, your eyes closed. And so, you know, like meditation can be like a meditative walk.
Well, Tony Robbins does breath work.
Oh, so yeah, the power hour.
Yeah, that's right. And I like that he also does it with his wife. So it's not necessarily something you have to do just on your own.
Chelsea and I have done the power hour.
Okay.
Yeah. So
how is that?
It was great. Like, we're just so goofy about it. But I would go find that YouTube video. We'll probably put it in the show notes. But Tony Robbins Power Hour, you can find on YouTube. And like, yeah, there's a breathing pattern that you do. And like, there's a whole piece about being grateful, which we did not put that in here, but that's always so important. It's just looking for gratitude everywhere you go. I think that should be next to every single one of these 6 ways.
So number 4 is to be around or put yourself in the same space as speakers, influencers. And that can be something for me personally has been meetup group. I know that I love to get involved in my community. And now that I've moved to San Francisco, I'm looking up a million meetup groups. So being around other people like me, like-minded people, that I feel inspired or influenced by, and going to, that can range then to bigger things like going to live events. So bigger things in your industry, or not even in your industry, just things that are just going to pull you out of your comfort zone a little bit more.
Yeah. And when I've done speaking before, it's so funny because like I feel like I'm traditionally more a teacher than like a keynote speaker or something like that, or a motivational speaker. And it's so funny that the number one feedback I get from just even teaching, like, here's how to use YouTube in your business, 17 steps. And people will come up and say, that was so inspiring, or you've inspired me to do X. It's not like you've taught me how to do all these things. It was like they were inspired. And so we really want to encourage you that there are events, not just in your local area, but like industry conferences, there are marketing and now just like personal development type conferences and seminars that just hearing someone who is in a flow state, who's been a success in their own right, like just being in their presence, hearing them sharing their philosophies and ideas about life, is can be so inspiring. And I don't go to as many events as I used to, but I attribute a lot of that to my success because I went to 15 events in 1 year. And like, you are forced to rewire the way you think, behave, act, and feel to match up with how all these successful people were. And I got the great opportunities to like hang out with the speakers and the creator, like the people holding the events, and like, you either fit in or get kicked out type of thing. And so like, there is this opportunity for people that are up to big things where just being around them is so inspiring. Okay. And that kind of takes us to the next 2, which are very similar. The first one is like, when you're not, booking that next event that you want to go to, whether maybe it's too far out or too expensive, is understand that you have books at your disposal. Like I said, that's a personal go-to for me. And podcasts like this one, which might be the only real reason why you're listening to this, is just to like have, part of your morning routine to like get inspired to be like, yes, go. And like, if that's the case, like, that's why I listen to podcasts, is just to like create a space that is intentional for my life where I'm not working, but still working, because this is so much what we do to get, like the mindset right is work. And I think, if you did an hour a day of your favorite podcast, like, you'd find ways to get pretty inspired. Like, you'd get, the inspiration would come forth pretty easily.
And I think, knowing yourself and how you absorb information and how you absorb inspiration, because for me, listening is a big one. So if I am not feeling inspired, then I will put on either, a podcast, or audiobooks are really big for me. I don't really enjoy sitting around reading all the time, but if I want to go on a walk, then I'll put on an audiobook and get inspired. And just listening to people, for me, I can hear their passion. I can hear their excitement. So that's a big one for me. Yeah.
And the last one we want to introduce you to is still very similar to some of these, but to surround yourself with people that you do have access to that can inspire you. I'm a part of a mastermind, and this is a group of people that are all 7-figure businesses or above. Like, just kind of sitting in the same room with these people is inspiring enough, right? And you want to always be present, conscious, and aware of who you are surrounding yourself with, obviously. But do you have a friend? Do you have a coworker, a boss, somebody up here in the industry that, like, every time you talk to them on the phone or every time you guys hang out, it's just like, oh my gosh, like, you have a new idea for something. And listen, just get as much of that as you can. There's never like too much of that. And this is also an encouragement to find, local masterminds or, meeting, group coaching people, accountability partners of your own to like take that step and do that. And also that if you're doing those things and you're not feeling inspired, to get the F out. That if you're in, like I see this all the time, that people are like, oh yeah, I'm in a mastermind with all these people and how's it going? And they're like,
just that. Exactly. Yeah, that like hesitation.
Get out now. Get out. Because if it's not serving you, like, what are you doing? But I said I would do it. Who cares? Like, screw your commitment. Like, get out because it's not serving you.
Yeah. And you want to make sure that you're being the inspiration to other people, that they're being to you. And if you feel drained by an event or a mastermind or a meetup group, then their experience of you is going to be drained, and that's just not being fair to them, to be honest.
You can't really be an inspiring person when you're not inspired yourself.
Right.
You wouldn't be serving anyone if you're showing up to that like just totally burnt out. So we want to go ahead and recap these 6 ways to invite more inspiration into your life, because that's what I want to challenge you to do, is to stop trying to get motivated to do all these things that you don't want to do that maybe you shouldn't be doing. I don't know. It's just something to look at. But to rather look for the inspiration in your life. Look for the things that, just flow through you with excitement, ease, and effortlessness. And 6 ways that you can do that, because some of you are like, well, how do I do that? I don't feel motivated or inspired right now. So here are 6 things that you can do. Number 1 is get really clear on your intentions. Like, what do you want? Everyone can answer that question. If you were inspired enough to press play on this podcast, you're inspired enough to answer that question. What do I want? And then asking the questions like, if you want to grow your business, is like, what's the best way that I can grow my business in 2016? Or what's the newest opportunity for? Just getting really good questions. Number 2, do things that have 0 resistance. Do things that are enjoyable, creative, fun, whatever, just that you like doing, that are the opposite of whatever is bringing you down right now. If you're unmotivated to work out, do something that is the opposite of that. I don't know what the opposite of that was, but like, just do something that's like, well, I'm just going to go read a book. Okay, great. Anything. Okay, just to be doing something that you actually enjoy. Number 3 is to meditate. Number 4, go to events, meetups, listen to speakers, listen to influencers. Number 5 is to find some resource of content absorption, like reading or listening, or even if it's like watching documentaries, like whatever it is. And then number 6, surround yourself with the people, your tribe, peers, people around you, friends, family, who inspire you. So that's it for this episode. Thank you so much for watching. I'm James Wedmore.
I'm Phoebe Mroczek.
And we'll see you all next time.
Take care.
Are you frustrated that no matter how hard you hustle, no matter how much you get done in a day, you still feel like you have little results to show for it? Do you feel like you're doing everything right, but there's still something missing? Well, what if there was an easier way? What if your business could be fun, effortless, and profitable? Phoebe and I have put together a free audio MP3 for you, compiling the 77 business affirmations for creating success from the inside out. And we want to give it to you absolutely free. This is your chance to rewire your brain for bigger results in your life and your business. To get instant access absolutely free, simply visit 77affirmations.com. That's the number 77affirmations.com.